Hey you, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm Jenny Prachko from Owls and Indigo, and I make videos about spirituality, moon-themed bullet journals, writing and journaling prompts, the moon, mental health and awareness, and my story. Today I'd like to share with you my bullet journal fertility trackers. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I am getting over a cold. Fortunately, I think I'm in the home stretch, and unfortunately, it turns out that this cold happened to hit like halfway through my period, and it just took it out of me, made me feel even sicker, and it was not good. And it actually made me put off putting my fertility charting tracker in my bullet journal. So I actually have a few days that I'm going to fill in at the end of this tracker to show you what it actually looks like in progress and once you start filling it out. So let's go ahead and get into my journal. So I use a separate journal for my fertility awareness charting method. I follow FAM, which is the Fertility Awareness Method, and I have a really great book by Toni Westler, I think is how you say her name. I'll leave it linked up above and down below. It really taught me a lot about charting and just getting to know my body more, and I wish that I would have learned this when I, first got my period, or maybe a year or two after when I was a teen. It really would have taught me a heck of a lot more about my body. And the reason I choose to chart is for awareness about my body, and then also just to keep track of my menstrual cycle. So I am currently charting to avoid pregnancy, and I use this as one of my forms of birth control, but I do not rely on this solely. I don't feel confident enough to do that yet, but hopefully as the years go by, I will learn more about this method and more about my body to where I feel confident using it as a charting method. So let's go ahead and get into this notebook and see how I set up my fertility tracking charts. This is a just random notebook that I had laying around. It's pretty thin, you can see, and it has lined pages, which I thought would be really great for my fertility charting, because I use an app called Kindara that I'm going to be basing my chart off of. So essentially I'm just duplicating my digital chart into a physical form. And I found that by doing this, I am learning more about my body, and I'm not just tracking things and just forgetting about it willy-nilly. By writing it down in this journal, I'm actually taking the time to analyze the data that I'm collecting. And you'll see I collect an awful lot of data when it comes to fertility awareness and charting. So this is my chart. I have a lot of things on here. I also am utilizing a fold up method, kind of like a faux Dutch door in normal bullet journals. So this is the actual chart where I'm going to be tracking my temperatures, and then all of this area down here is other data that I'm tracking. And and normally you'd have a section for notes down here, but because I'm tracking so much, I don't have that room. So what I do is I just fold up this page, and then I have an area here for my notes for the day, and then I also have my legend or my key down here. So this is my 35th cycle. This is covering the last part of January and February. So this is my 35th cycle that I've been charting. I am much older than for this to be my 35th cycle ever. So this is actually my 35th cycle since I have been charting. And I haven't been seriously charting my cycle until this past year. Now I'm really getting into just paying attention to my body more and my mood more and my mental health and my energy, and a lot of those things are contained here in this tracker. So the top here says cycle 35, and then I have a row for the cycle day. And then the row above that is the moon phases. And then I also like to use 2 silver dots for Saturday and Sunday, and then a gold dot for Monday. This is actually a carryover from my bullet journals this year. You'll see that pop up in my monthly overviews as well. So that's just something that's unique to me. And then at the very top is the day of the month. Below those 3 lines, I have a section for my temperatures. I record my BBT temperature, and for me, I have a really weird, unique, particular need. I have hearing loss. I actually have about a 40% hearing loss combined between my 2 ears. So I can't hear a normal BBT thermometer that you stick under your tongue in the morning. I can't hear it beep when it's done. So I have no idea when the beep is done, if it's finished or not. And it's really irritating to wake up Dan, my husband, and be like, hey, has it beeped yet? Because sometimes he'll fall back asleep before it beeps, and then I can't do this. I won't be able to record my temperature. And recently, unfortunately, my thermometer that I was using broke. It flat out busted. It broke in half. There was no saving it. I had super glued it back together before, but there was a break in this one that there was no way I could glue it back together. But I had the Kindara Wink thermometer, which I loved. I am super sad that they don't make it anymore, and they don't have any more plans to make it. And the reason why I loved it is because it synced to my tracker app, and it recorded my BBT temperature in the app automatically. But that's not the best part about it for me. The best part about it for me was that instead of beeping like normal BBT thermometers that you get from Target or Walmart or the store or whatever, this thermometer actually vibrated. Since I have 40% hearing loss, I couldn't hear the thermometers from the store, and this thermometer allowed me to know when my temperature was done being taken, and then I could take it out and go about my morning. That was really key for me before, and I had that thermometer for over 2 years before it finally broke on me. So I definitely got my money's worth. And Wink Kindara, if you see this video, please bring it back. I freaking love that thermometer. It's amazing. If you bring it back, I'm going to immediately switch back. So hey, Wink, please bring back the thermometer. And if you're curious about what the Wink thermometer looks like from Kindara, I will leave a picture right here. It's awesome. It's slim. It's beautiful. I love it. Love it so much. And the best thing about it for me as a person with hearing loss, I needed it to vibrate to let me know what was going on, to let me know that the temperature was done taking. But anyway, now what I use is the temp drop thermometer, and this is completely different. I didn't know this existed. After my thermometer broke, I stressed out for days. And because this was one of my main forms of birth control, oh my God, for days I was freaking out because I couldn't record my temperature. I didn't know, I felt like I didn't know what was going on with my body because I couldn't tell if I was ovulating or not because of the temperature, because of not being able to record my temperature or take my temperature. And it caused so much undue stress on me. But anyway, the temp drop thermometer is just in the BBT and how to track and everything. That's a completely different video. We're in a bullet journal tracking video right now, so we need to move on. Anyway, finally got my new thermometer, and I was able to start tracking again. And now I'm starting to figure out how this new thermometer works, and my temperature is much lower in my chart, which you will see if you chart yourself, or if you're kind of familiar with the charting method or with FAM, you'll notice my temperatures are much lower, and that's because my temperature is taken at this point instead of the point underneath my tongue, which is a hell of a lot cooler down here than underneath your tongue. So that's why. But that's a completely different video. Let's get back into my bullet journal chart. Moving on down the list, I have a ton of things that I'm tracking. I'm tracking my cervix, whether I was lubricative or not. And then I also have a couple of sex-related things here. I have things like, did I initiate? Was I feeling randy that day? And then I also have LH strip tests, whether they were positive or negative, and the LH strips correspond with ovulation time during your cycle. But again, that's a completely different video. And then below that, I have my mood tracker. Since the start of my mental health journey, I used a 5-point tracking system for my moods, and I've been doing this for probably close to 2 years now. And I have calm and stable at the top, good, meh, bad, stress, no focus, and then the worst is triggered, panic, or depression. And then I have a space here for medication, and then a couple of other body related things. And then down at the bottom, I have 10K steps tracker to see where I was at in a given day. And then at the bottom, I have a tracker for whether or not I went outside. I said in my last video, I am a bit of a hermit crab, and I don't like leaving home. I love home. I'm a homebody. And I love just, being in my cozy stuff and in my cozy place. So I think, and I don't know, this is the first month I'm tracking this, I think that I'm having like mood fluctuations because I'm not going outside. So I'm tracking whether or not I'm going outside for a month, and we'll see how that goes. And then at the very bottom, I have the dates of the month repeated as well. And then when you flip up this page, there is a notes section, and this is my fertility charting notes. Normally in this section, if you're charting, this is where you would write like your cervical mucus and just what was it like that day, the consistency, the amount, the type, and all that. But again, that's another video. For me, right now, I am tracking just anything that I need to know that could affect my temperatures within this chart. So I have the first couple of days were my period, and then I got sick on the 27th, and so I have notes here for all the days that I was sick. And then on the 8th day of every cycle, you're supposed to do a self-breast exam, so I have a reminder here to do that as well. And as the month goes on, I will just write down any other notes that pertain to my menstrual cycle or anything else that I'm charting within this fertility awareness chart. And then on the very bottom, I have a legend here. I've seen a lot of different symbols and legends for fertility charting, and the chart and the symbols that I use are the same as the ones in my app from Kindara. And then these last three things are the colored part of my legend. I use a red line for my period. I use a big red dot for my projected period, which is at the end of this chart. And then I use two little dots for any days that I was spotting. After that, I use a green line for ovulating and a purple line for the luteal phase. And the luteal phase, it is the phase that comes after ovulation. So that is my fertility awareness charting method. I really love this method. It has taught me a lot about my body. It makes me feel like I'm in tune with my body and my hormones, and I can really tell when I'm about to ovulate and I notice like different changes and shifts in my mood and in my physical body as well, and also in like my mental body, my mental health as well. It changes. And because I struggle with depression, anxiety, and sometimes PTSD, I need to stay on top of everything, and I need to understand what's going on with my body. And charting has really opened that up for me. If you have mental health struggles like I do, I highly recommend that you try charting just to get to know your body better, because your physical body really affects your mind. It totally does, and it affects your mental health. And it's all like meshed together. And that is one of the biggest things that I have learned from charting this way. I love it. I don't think I will ever not chart. Until the day that I finally get to menopause, I will be charting. Because it tells me a lot about my body, and I need that information to rationalize why I'm feeling a certain way, and also to explain to myself why I'm feeling a certain way, because there are some days where my depression and my anxiety is just, it's taken over. It's completely taken over. And if I have the data in front of me, I'm able to tell myself in those really bad, freaking terrible moments that, hey, this is normal. This has happened before. This is where you're at in your cycle. So that's why these things are probably happening. Everything is okay. And there's no need to worry. Just trust the chart, trust the data that you've collected, and just keep moving forward. So, charting has really, really helped my mental health. I highly recommend that you do it. And I have not seen any bullet journal fertility charting videos on the internet at all. So I would really love to know if you chart as well. How do you chart? What method do you follow? Because there are a lot of different methods out there. What temperature tracking device do you use? Do you use a thermometer from the store? Do you use like an armband thermometer like mine? What do you use? I'd really love to know in the comments down below. Or if you see videos that are like this, tag me in them so I can actually go watch them and interact with those content creators as well, because this is a lot of really great information that menstruating humans need, because this thing that we go through affects our bodies and our minds. And if we have the tools and the data to make better decisions about our health, then it's just going to make the world a hell of a lot better, even if it only makes our immediate world better. Make sure you check out my other bullet journal videos. I make moon-themed bullet journal spreads. I also do goal setting via the moon. I set my goals in alignment with the moon. So every time there's a new moon, I set some new goals, and then as we travel through the lunar month, I do some check-ins to see if I'm on track with my goals, and then I do a review at the end of the month on the crescent moon to see how it went. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link up above and down below. They are some really awesome goal setting videos, and just a different way to set your goals that may actually work better for you, because I found that this was the only way that worked for me in my current season of life. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out my other bullet journal videos. I have some setup bullet journal videos. I also have some other mental health tracker bullet journal videos. Make sure you check those out. And love to hear about how your charting journey has gone. I'd love to see your bullet journal recreations too. And I would just really love to know how you're doing today, because I'm kind of struggling today, and that's because I'm sick. My mental health today is pretty clear. It's pretty spot on. I'm not feeling depressed or anxious. I feel good, which is a win for me. I feel really awesome. Thank goodness. But how are you? Like, what's going on? Are you having a good day? Are you having a bad day? Let me know. I want to help you, and I want us to help each other. That's one of the things that I really love about this is the community that we have here on YouTube and over on Instagram. Actually, follow me over on Instagram at alzindigo. That's where you can find me most. You can also find me on alzindigo.com, where I share weekly spirituality tips, writing and journaling prompts, little tidbits about the moon and how to move through the lunar cycles with your goal setting, mental health and awareness, and my story. I'm so grateful that you chose to spend your time here with me today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.